So before I continue my Isaiah series, let me give you 4 scriptures or so from Jeremiah that talk about the hand of God. So you know that it is a recurring theme in the Bible, and it directly pertains to martial art arguments. There's American martial arts, they're very profane and worldly. There's Eastern martial arts that are Buddhist and Shinto and from their respective religious groupings. And there's monotheistic martial arts that predate the Bible, like Nimrod, for example, and Moses, who predated the Bible's being presented. Before the Bible was written, there was already people who were wielding the martial art force of God. Jeremiah 15. I sat alone because your hand was on me and filled me with indignation. If people who are liberals, for example, say, you want to fight the hate, you're not supposed to fight the righteous indignation from God. And I shouldn't have to tell you that. Jeremiah 21:5 talks about an outstretched hand and a mighty arm striking down man and beast. Jeremiah 23:29 is not my word like a fire, declares the Lord, and like a hammer that breaks a rock in pieces? Like a fire, like a hammer. These are intense things. They go beyond the reckless and foolish thinking of people who are unfocused. For example, when we look at Hebrews, it talks about the scripture being sharper than any double-edged sword. 2 Timothy 1:7. For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but one of power, love, and sound judgment. New International Version and New Living Translation, right, has self-discipline. Amplified Bible. For God did not give us a spirit of timidity or cowardice or fear, but He has given us a spirit of power and of love and of sound judgment and personal discipline. Abilities that result in a calm, well-balanced mind and self-control. Okay? So mental clarity. If someone's fuming me and drugging me, you can't say, well, why didn't God keep you from slipping on your words? Because I'm being fumed and drugged. That's what happens. When martyrs are being beaten and stoned and killed, they tend not to have the same mental clarity as they otherwise would have. Does that mean they don't have the Spirit of God? Don't be silly. Jeremiah 27:5, with my great power and outstretched arm, I made the earth and its people and the animals that are on it, and I give it to anyone I please. Okay, when we see in the Old Testament where it talks about God sent His right hand of power his arm of power to be at Moses' right hand. So the arm and the right hand are used interchangeably, and it has to do with the extension of the power from the source to the point of conveyance. Okay, in a sense, it's all a point of conveyance, but there's one point in particular where it comes into contact with something else. Like when you first strike someone, when you first stab somebody, the first point you stab them versus when the blade sinks all the way in, and so on and so forth. These are martial art principles. It's a martial art description because it goes into great detail in a way that is more characteristic of a martial artist than a brute force warrior. This is also why in Egypt, where the Jews were held captive and Moses learned the ways of Horus, he learned the fighting arts and the teachings of Egyptians. That's recorded in the Old Testament. Horus was a surgical striking martial art deity, where Set was a rapist, raped by deception like Zeus, Zeus's Egyptian equivalent, and a brute force striker, who's compared to the boar, big snakes, the hippo, and unfocused animals like the jackal, okay, and the deer and aardvark, and so on and so forth. Thank you.